Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we will be doing Unit 2, 3.2 for CAT. Now, processing devices. Processing is the second stage for the information process cycle you learned about in Chapter 1. Processing mainly uses the system components of computers such as motherboard, CPU, and RAM for its tasks. In this unit, you will learn about the roles of each component of a computer system, how they work, and what they do. Motherboard is one of the most essential parts of a computer. It holds many components that allow a computer to function, such as the CPU, RAM, and the connectors for input and output devices. Here is what a motherboard board looks like with components. Motherboard is made of thin pieces of rigid non-conductive material. Right? It's made of thin pieces of rigid non-conductive material. A thin layer of copper or aluminum foil is printed onto the sheet with circuits that are traced. These circuits are called traces. They are very narrow and form a connection between the various components housed in the motherboard. Role of the motherboard is to provide for other devices or interfaces to be installed, such as more memory or another graphic card, distributing power to various components, act as a communication hub as the components send and receive information through the motherboard. Now, then we have CPU, Central Processing Unit, which is also called a processor, carries out the instructions from the computer program. It is basically the brain of the computer, right? We say CPU is the brain and does the arithmetical, logical, and input output operations of the computer program. The speed of the CPU tells you how much data can be processed in a specific time. Speed is measured by gigahertz, measured in gigahertz. This is a Intel Core i7 CPU. What are cores in CPUs? The core is usually the basic computing unit of the CPU. A single core can run a single program, um, a single program, problem, or context. A CPU may have one or more cores to perform tasks at any single time. Original CPUs had single cores, but manufacturers began adding more cores to increase the performance of the CPU. A CPU with two cores can split the task into two tasks and thereby complete it faster. This speeds up the computer because it is essentially able to multitask. A dual-core processor has two cores. So it looks like two CPUs to the operating system. A quad-core CPU has four cores, octo-core, 8 cores. It's in the name, octo, quad, dual, right? These cores make sure that the CPU is still small enough to fit in a single socket, taking up space less than the motherboard. RAM and ROM. While RAM and ROM are both types of memories, they perform different functions. For example, here. Now, this table is important. Just know it. RAM is called is also known as random access memory and is a specific type of data storage. It allows data to be accessed in a random order, which means specific information can be found quickly. RAM is where the CPU goes to fetch the instructions and data that is needed to work on. RAM is also a temporary storage for data for programs that are running, allowing the program to work faster. ROM, on the other hand, or read-only memory, stores basic instructions for what needs to happen when the computer is switched on. It contains basic codes to get computer started. The ROM is normally stored on the BIOS chip in the motherboard. The information stored in ROM is often difficult to change, and the data is not lost when computer is powered down. Now we go to interpret computer advertisements. When you want to buy a new computer or storage device, there are several key factors to consider. By using what you know about these components, you will be able to interpret information in advertisements for computers. Right? Using what you have learned so far in this chapter, you will be able to interpret any advertisement by the look of the following key pieces of information. That is, how fast the CPU okay, now I'm looking at the screen and I'm not right. How fast is the CPU in the computer? How big is the memory? And how big is the memory? How much storage capacity does it have? No, I want it to be green. Yeah. Okay. And which operating system does the computer use? Now, remember how fast is the CPU in the computer? Remember that the faster the CPU works, the faster your computer will be able to process data. So, a 3 gigahertz processor is twice as fast as a 1.51. This is an example. In this example, the CPU speed is up to 3.10 GHz, gigahertz. How much memory? How much memory does it have? Then the more RAM you have, the more programs and applications you can run at once. Most computers come with 4 GB of RAM, which is good for a user who do not need so much more than check emails or create some documents. Users who will need their computer to do slightly more can get up to 8 GB of RAM, while 16 GB is good for those who often use more memory intensive programs in their computer, such as games, videos, photo editing softwares. In this example, the memory is 8 GB RAM. I think I have 8 GB one, not the 4 GB one. How much storage capacity does it have? Now, most computers come with a fairly large hard drive, about 500 GB. You can also buy an external hard drive. You can buy external hard drives that can store terabytes of data. Make sure you get one that will suit your need. In this example, the storage capacity is 1 terabyte. This one here. We are looking at this example, right? And then lastly, which operating system does the computer have? The latest operating system will be more compatible to new programs and will be more secure and able to support the drivers who of for your hardware. For the example above, Windows 10 Home is used. Right. Um, Let me know if you want me to solve this activity in the next lesson, or should I just upload it as a post and y'all can write the answers down. See you.